Jeannie Thomas, the aging matriarch of the Thomas family in the center of the estate dispute. Jeannie is strong-willed, observant, and deeply tied to the family legacy built over generations through land, business, and hard work. In her final years, her care becomes the dividing line between those who truly loved her and those who later only cared about what she left behind. Will Thomas Sr., Jeannie's devoted son, a hard-working man who believes in duty, loyalty, and keeping his word. Will Sr. carries the burden of caring for his mother when others refuse to help. His quiet sacrifice becomes one of the clearest measures of character in the entire story. Louise Thomas, Will Sr.'s wife and one of the steady forces in the family. Louise is compassionate, practical, and loyal, standing beside her husband through years of strain and family conflict. She sees clearly who is helping, who is absent, and who is waiting for the estate to become valuable. Willie, Will Thomas Jr., Jeannie's grandson and Will Sr.'s son. Known as Willie after his formal introduction, he leaves behind his own life and business to come home when the family needs him. Willie becomes one of the people willing to sacrifice for Jeannie, and later one of the strongest witnesses to the difference between family duty and family greed. Scott Thomas, a cousin pulled into the estate conflict as one of the family's fiercest defenders. Scott is sharp, intense, and not easily intimidated. He can be vicious when pushed, but beneath that edge is a man who believes in protecting the family's rightful side of the fight. Adam Blythe, a loyal cousin from Louise's side of the family who steps forward when help is needed most. Adam is not motivated by control or inheritance. He comes because Willie asks and because Jeannie's household needs support. His role shows that sometimes the people who act like family are the ones who prove it through sacrifice. Wade Thomas, Jeannie's estranged son and one of the central sources of conflict. Wade is bitter, resentful, and consumed by jealousy toward Will Sr. and Louise. His absence during Jeannie's decline stands in sharp contrast to his later interest in the estate, making him one of the most controversial figures in the story. Drusinda Thomas, Wade's wife and one of the most disruptive forces in the Thomas family. Jeannie and Edward saw through her years earlier, believing she spread lies, gossip, and division out of jealousy and resentment. With a harsh presence and a voice described as a squawking, nasally parrot mixed with nails on a chalkboard, Drusinda becomes a symbol of family poison and greed. Aunt Virginia Wyatt, an elderly family member whose final years left a lasting mark on Will Sr. and Jeannie. Virginia's experience becomes part of the reason Jeannie fears being placed in a nursing home and why Will Sr. is determined to keep his promise to care for his mother at home. Though her role is brief, her story echoes through the family's choices. Judge Michael Drew Others, the corrupt civil court judge tied to Wade's lawsuit against Will Sr. Judge Others represents the darker side of the legal battle, where power, conflicts, and questionable rulings deepen the family's suffering. His presence turns the courtroom into another battlefield. Judge Lanny Foster, the fair judge overseeing the probate side of the estate. Unlike Judge Others, Judge Foster represents order, patience, and a steadier hand amid the chaos. His courtroom becomes one of the few places where the estate battle has a chance to be handled with fairness. Manny Glick, Wade's rough, drunken, drug-addicted attorney, known for being disheveled, abrasive, and barely understandable in court. Manny adds confusion and hostility to an already bitter fight. His presence brings a grimy, almost absurd edge to the legal war surrounding Jeannie's estate. Jonathan Hawke, an estate attorney brought in by Manny and Wade, but far from a trustworthy figure. Hawke is portrayed as dishonest, opportunistic, and willing to complicate the estate for his own gain. His involvement raises the stakes, suggesting that the heirs are not only fighting each other, but also outsiders looking to profit. Edward Thomas, Jeannie's late husband and one of the most respected figures in the family's past. Edward was close to Will Sr., Louise, and especially Willie, serving as a mentor to him growing up. His absence is felt throughout the story, because he represented wisdom, stability, and the kind of character the family badly needed after he was gone. Anne Dorsey, the hospice worker present around the time of Jeannie's passing. Anne enters the story as an outside witness to Wade and Drusinda's greedy intentions during one of the family's most sensitive moments. What she sees inside the home after Jeannie dies leaves her disturbed, especially as Wade and Drusinda appear more concerned with finding money and jewelry than showing respect for the grieving family. Her reaction gives the audience a clear outside view of just how far the family conflict has gone. Clem Thomas, Wade's son and another example of the family divide. Harsh, absent when help is needed, and unwilling to carry responsibility, Clem reflects the bitterness and dysfunction surrounding Wade's side of the family. His role reinforces the contrast between those who served Jeannie and those who stayed away. Cynthia Burgess, the attorney who eventually steps in to fight Wade and Drusinda in court on behalf of the late Will Sr.'s side. Calm, intelligent, and persistent, Cynthia becomes one of the strongest legal advocates in the story. She later becomes the estate attorney representing Will Sr.'s position and stands as a counterweight to the chaos caused by Wade, Drusinda, Manny, and Hawk.